Donna Bellows examined her face in the mirror by the front door. She decided that she would have to make do with what she had. Her husband's best friend, Gil Gentry, called and asked her to meet him in town at a small restaurant on the outskirts. She knew what he wanted, and she didn't know how he would react to what she would tell him. She picked up a large bag that she usually carried over her shoulder. It might not have been too stylish, but it contained everything a mother of three needs to have with her. Taking the keys, she looked at her reflection again. "I'm really a fucking idiot," she said out loud. She slowly closed the door behind her and got into her BMW. As she drove to meet Gil, her thoughts went back to that evening when she was at a party at the company where he worked. She knew better than to go there without her husband Steve. But almost at the last minute, he had urgent business at one of the construction sites, and he persuaded her to go without him. "Honey, you're already dressed. The kids are with the babysitter, and you definitely don't want to stay here or in the pickup while I try to fix this mess. Besides, there will be a lot of our friends at the party, and it would be good for you to come out. I hate to miss this, but equipment failure is not a reason you can't have a good time." And she went and had a really good time. Most of the people there were familiar. She walked in circles and enjoyed eating, talking, and drinking. Perhaps she enjoyed the drinks too much. She shook her head. She wasn't going to put the blame on anything or anyone but herself. She had indeed drunk enough to loosen her inhibitions, quite a lot, but no amount of alcohol justified her behavior. She went out the back door to get some air to clear her head. The light buzz was pleasant, but she knew that a little more and she would have to leave the car and ask someone to take her home. She took a deep breath and almost jumped out of her skin when someone spoke. "Donna, what are you doing here alone and unattended?" "Gil Gentry, what are you doing? Are you trying to give me a heart attack?" She laughed and walked over to him. He certainly looks good, Donna thought to herself. Tall, blonde, and handsome, he contrasted so much with Steve, who was stocky and swarthy. It's not that Steve wasn't as handsome as Gil, but Gil had the look of a movie star that made women melt. Even she was guilty of flirting with him when he wandered into various parties, including this one. But it was harmless, she reminded herself. She never went beyond casual flirting. She certainly never intended to do more. "You look a little cold, Donna. Here." Gil took off his sports jacket and threw it over her. Donna admitted that it was nice. She was wearing a sleeveless black dress that left her shoulders bare. It was nice inside, but there was a slight chill in the air. "Thanks." "No problem," he smiled. "That's what friends are for." Without giving her a chance to speak, he continued. "Seriously, what are you doing here? And where is Steve? Did I miss it tonight or what?" "Or what, I think," she replied. She explained what had happened. "In conclusion," she said, "I just wanted to take a break from all this smoke. I don't understand how people can breathe." "I know. But hey, it's getting pretty cool in here. How about," he laughed and bowed, "that I take my lady down the hall and show her my new office? We will stay away from the smoke and from the cold at the same time." "Why, Gil, it's so unexpected," she laughed back. "Are you going to ask me to show you your etchings? Will it work?" He teased her. "You should know better," she scolded him. "I know, and I will behave well." He held out his hand to her, and she took it. They walked down a softly carpeted hallway until he stopped and unlocked the door. "First Vice President. This is something new, Gil. When did this happen?" "Just a few days ago. I had time to move everything from my old office and make it all work here. But everything fits and everything works as it should." She briefly considered the wording of the comment, but waved it away. The office was really beautiful. The dark furniture was offset by light wood paneling and bright curtains that were currently drawn. "It's really beautiful here," she commented. Unbeknownst to herself, she took his jacket off her shoulders and draped it over a chair. "Yes, it is," he said softly. His hands gently touched her shoulders and stayed there. "But not as beautiful as you." She couldn't figure out how it all started. Sanity has returned. Horrified by what she had done, she threw on a dress and ran out of the office building. She drove home and hurried into the shower, as if hot water could wash away the incredible stupidity she had just committed. When Steve finally returned home, she pretended to be asleep. Trying to lie still so as not to disturb him, she eventually fell into an anxious doze. The next day was no better. After everyone left for work and school, She sat down at the kitchen table and began to think about her action. Not only did she betray Steve, it seemed like she did it without thinking. 15 years of loyalty went down in one fell swoop. Well, it happened. She felt terrible. But there was no way she was going to act like something that happened once could happen again. She knew that the first betrayal was the hardest. For her, she was supposed to be the last. Damn it, Donna, she said aloud to herself. It wasn't even that good. Gil's appeal lay in his appearance, that's for sure. His lovemaking skills were nothing compared to Steve's. A few days passed, and she began to calm down a little. She still wasn't sure if she should admit it to Steve. She knew it would cause him terrible pain, perhaps unforgivable. At the same time, she thought that the honesty they always gave each other required recognition. She decided to think it over. She couldn't come to a decision. Perhaps by Saturday evening, the night they always tried to spend together, she would figure out what to do. On Friday, the phone rang. Hello? Hi, Donna. This is Gil. We need to talk. Gil, I'm not sure this is a good idea. In fact, I know this is a very bad idea. His voice was resolute. You need to hear what I want to tell you. Good. Lunch at Sanderson's at 1300 hours? It will be good. Don't be late. He abruptly hung up the phone. The trip took forever. On the way, Donna thought about and discarded a dozen different scenarios and conversations. The only thing she knew for sure was that there would be no romance. She couldn't change what had happened, but she wasn't going to repeat it either. She parked near the door and entered a small restaurant. She smiled at the head waiter and asked if Mr. Gentry had arrived. Receiving a nod, she allowed him to lead her to a small table at the back of the room. Gil was already sitting there. Hi, Gil, Donna said softly, sitting down. What? He replied. Come on, Donna. No kissing for your lover? For God's sake, don't even joke about it, she whispered. Someone might hear you. He looked at her in amazement. After that night, is that all you can say? It was magical. It meant something special to me. Donna took a deep breath and looked at Gil sternly. The only thing it meant was that you were turned on. You've wanted me for a long time. I know that. But I don't understand why. You have an amazing wife, and Steve is one of your best friends. He grinned and shrugged his shoulders. It just makes it all the sweeter to know that Stevie's good old faithful wife, Donna, was playing cheater with me. I like to get what I can't have, or at least what no one thinks I can get. God, Gil, I can't believe you're being so callous about all this, Donna marveled. Well, it's even easier that way. She looked straight into his eyes. I'm telling you that I made a terrible mistake last night, and it will never happen again. I hope you enjoyed it, because that's all. I will never make love to you again. Oh, I think you will, Donna. Gil laughed triumphantly and threw a large manila envelope on the table. Donna opened it and gasped when a set of photographs spilled onto the table. She clutched them together convulsively and covered them with an envelope. They were pictures of her and Gil. More precisely, they were photos of her and Jill making love. Look at this one, Gil chuckled as Donna sorted through the photos. Indeed, Donna remembered with shame. She really enjoyed it. And this picture is even better, Gil interrupted her agonizing thoughts. Look at yourself with your legs wrapped around me. I'm sure Stevie will be glad to see that look on your face. Damn, Donna, I bet he's never seen it. I'm doing you a favor by keeping you close. What does it mean to keep me close? Donna demanded. And where did you get them? Even a blonde like you should be able to answer both of these questions. You bastard, Donna hissed. That's why you wanted to go to your office. You can see everything there. Yes, it is, he grinned. And that's not the way to talk to your new, well, owner. Seems like such a pretentious word, but it'll do. If you don't want all this to come out, then from now on, you will follow my instructions. Donna immediately realized that these instructions probably included. She grabbed the envelope and the photos. Oh, by the way, you can keep them. Gil nodded at the photos. I have several copies if you're interested. Since Donna was sitting mute, Gil nodded his head in satisfaction. Now that all the trouble is over, let's get down to business. Not only will you entertain me whenever I want to, I think you'll be a boon to my business. Donna raised her head and shook it. So, now we have already decided everything. It's just a matter of you being polite to my clients. I'm sure you'll like it. Actually, This weekend will be a good start. I have a couple of promising clients who came from another city. I don't care what excuse you give Steve, as long as you're at my house by 7 at night. To show you that I'm not a bad guy, I'll even provide underwear that you'll have to wear. In the meantime, I think I'm in a good mood right now. So, follow me to me. No, Donna said softly. What? I mean, no? Donna looked at Gil. I may have made a mistake that I'll probably never be able to fix, but I'm not stupid. If I had done that, I would have been even deeper in your power, not out of it. Sooner or later, you would have forced me to do something that would have let the whole affair out anyway. She paused, and an unexpected thought occurred to her. That's exactly what happened to Sue Dahlgreen, isn't it? The Dahlgreens were acquaintances, not friends, but the divorce attracted the attention of the whole society. Judging by Gil's expression, she was right. He calmed his emotions and leaned back in his chair. What are you going to do? He laughed. Tell your moral, decent husband what kind of a cheater you are? Yes. Donna's one-word response completely stunned Gil. You wouldn't dare, he stuttered. I know Steve. He'll throw you right out on the street, without a dime. Maybe, Donna agreed. And if he does, I can't blame him a bit. She stood up, stuffing the envelope into her bag. I can lose everything. Him, the children, all the material assets that I have. Not that they're worth anything, without Steve and the kids. But it's a risk that I have no choice but to take. Gil sat with his mouth open. His thoughts were whirling. If she had really done it? No, she just wouldn't dare. It was all a bluff. But what if it is? Gil? He raised his head. He was struck by the calm, determined expression on her face. In case you're worried that your role in this will come up, don't worry. I'm just going to deny everything. It'll be your word against mine. Gil almost muttered in a panic. Of course, and these photos will be something that I created? I don't think you've ever thought that they work both ways. I think when all this is over, there will be more than casual interest in you and your little scheme. I bet the Dahlgreens weren't the only couple you ruined. In fact, Donna paused as a thought struck her. Blackmail is a criminal offense. You'll realize that you've been making love to the wrong woman. Gil obviously realized this fact. He put a smile on his face, got up and walked around the table. Come on, Donna. Don't get in trouble. I was just joking a little bit. Can't you accept it? Donna stepped aside herself, holding the table between them. I did it that night, and I'm going to regret it for the rest of my life. Even if Steve finds the strength to forgive me, it will be very difficult for me to forgive myself for hurting him and my family, for no more than a brief moment, not too much pleasure. Gil's face twisted, and he lunged at Donna. Give me the envelope. Donna quickly stepped back. Suddenly, a formidable figure appeared between them. Mrs. Bellows, how nice to see you in this room today. Gil's face dropped as his eyes took in almost 2 meters of a very large, very muscular black man. The man continued, I hope there's no trouble here. I don't like it. It's bad for business. Oh, no, David. Donna smiled tightly at her old friend. I was just leaving, and Mr. Gentry felt that we hadn't completed our case. I'm sure he's wrong, David said flatly. Would you like me to walk you to your car, Donna? Please, David. When she was safely settled in the car, Donna leaned her head against the steering wheel for a long minute. She started the car and drove mechanically to her husband's office. She pulled into the parking lot and parked next to his pickup truck. She got out of the car and locked it. Even under such stressful circumstances, she smiled at the contrast. Steve insisted that she drive a good car, and she liked her BMW. On the contrary, he continued to drive a battered pickup truck. If I buy a new one, it will get beaten up too, he reasoned. She stopped for a moment and ran her fingers over her car. It is quite possible that in a few minutes, she will no longer belong to her. But that would be the least she could lose. She entered the building and turned into the corridor that led to her husband's office. Hello, Mrs. Bellows, Darlene. Steve's longtime secretary and secretary greeted her cheerfully. Hi, Darlene. Donna tried to give her voice a casual relaxation, which she did not feel at all. Donna? Darlene stared at her. Darlene and her husband Bill came to work at Bellows Construction when it was just a young couple's dream. Although they always followed the formalities at work, they often visited Steve and Donna's house. and the two women were each other's confidants for many years. Their children were best friends. Darlene knew her friend was terribly upset about something, but she didn't want to push. "It's all right, Darlene. Is he here?" "Of course, he's the only one. Thanks." "Oh, Darlene, is your brother still a lieutenant in the sheriff's department?" "Of course, his wife is also a detective there." "And what?" "Just curious," Donna replied. She opened the outer doors to Steve's office. She stopped, her fingers on the handle of the inner door. She could still turn away, go back to Gil, and hope that somehow she could convince him to abandon his plan. No, she thought angrily to herself. She wasn't the first woman to be deceived by this man, but she was going to be the last. Donna took a deep breath. She squared her shoulders, wiped a tear from her eyes, and reached deep into herself for a reservoir of power she didn't even know she had. With her head held high, despite the guilt and anguish in her heart, she opened the door and went inside.